So just to give you a bit of history on this canoe, from what I've been told, it was purchased in 1965 from Eaton's by a friend of my parents, and they were done with it and gave it to me generously to restore. The next several videos are the condition that I got it when I picked it up. It had been restored once before I got it. They fiberglassed the hull and did some other repairs, and that's where I got started. As you can see, it's hard to remove that fiberglass. It's quite a mess. I had to use a heat gun, and it took a long time. I'm guessing 15 hours to get that off. You got to be careful not to destroy the wood that's underneath, and unfortunately the fiberglass, it adheres itself right to the wood. Here I had to remove all the varnish from inside the canoe. I removed the seats, and you can see that it's been all removed, and I started to remove some of the rotten pieces, the top planks, the gunnels, the stems, the decks. They were pretty rotten, so I had a lot of work ahead of me. This is the thwart and the yoke that I made, also out of red birch. It gets 2 coats of shellac and then 2 or 3 coats of polyurethane. I took a break from the hull itself and started working on the seats. I made completely new seats out of yellow birch, the heartwood of yellow birch. They call it red birch. I wanted to do the original babiche seats that are made out of rawhide, so I practiced first with paracord, 550 paracord, just to practice because I'd never done this before. And after that, I went to the full babiche, which is rawhide that you soak in water, and then you weave it and allow it to dry, and it tightens up, and this is the result you get. Back to the hull now. I removed about 30 plus rib tips that were rotten and did a scarf joint on each one to put a new tip on there, probably, I don't know, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches long. And then there was 5 ribs, I believe, that needed to be replaced. They were broken. So we had to steam those out of cedar, and you can see in the video how that was done.
Flat side up.
Yeah. Hold it steady there. Okay, lined up with the other one.
Okay.
You can use the canoe itself as a mold for your ribs. I believe you do the next smallest rib on the outside will fit the rib that you are replacing on the inside. If I explained that correctly or not. Next, I had to steam the inwales, which were made out of ash, about 17 feet long. I had to steam each one of them, and you can see pictures and there's some video here of the setup of how I did that. It worked pretty well, actually. Making steam. And here you see the finished product. Once both inwales are done and molded, they have to be nailed on with some silicone bronze ring nails, 2 nails in each top of each rib into the hardwood, which you have to pre-drill because the nails are soft and they'll bend if you don't. So it takes quite a while. There's a lot of ribs. There's 50 ribs anyways. Here's a picture of the decks I made. They're also made out of the red birch with a strip of ash down the center just for accent. Here I'd replace the broken planks and rotten planks with some cedar. I think it was 5/32 of an inch thick or something like that. It was quite thin, of clear cedar. Once all the planking's done, I have to put a coat of linseed oil mixed with turpentine, about 1-to-1 ratio, and do 2 coats of that to help seal the wood. I also have to do the inside the same. After that, I put 3 coats of shellac on the inside and then 3 coats of urethane on top of that. So it's a total of 6 coats before it comes to this finish. Next, I steamed the outwales. They're also made of ash. Same process as the inwales, and clamp them to the outside of the canoe. But they come back off again because I have to canvas it first on the outside before those go on permanently. To apply the canvas, I use these clamps that I made up out of 2x4s, and they actually pinch the canvas, and you tie it to one end of your building and the other end to a come along to stretch it tight over top of the canoe, as you can see in the pictures. I also had to make some rather large clothespins. They're about 36 inches long out of hardwood. That keeps the canvas pulled tight to the sides of the canoe when you're stretching it. This is the process of stretching the canvas over top of the canoe. The canoe's sitting on some sawhorses upside down, and you pull it pretty tight. Once the canvas is on tight and tacked down with over 300 brass tacks, I run a torch over top of the cotton canvas just to remove any of the fluff and stuff that's on it. Gives you a little smoother finish when you apply your mastic and paint. Got the first coat of mastic sealer on the canvas. 2 more to go. Here I'm applying a water-based rubberized mastic. I have to put 3 coats of that on, and it dries quite quickly. And if you need to manipulate it at all, you can wet your hands and smooth it out, get any bumps out, and pick any chunks of fluff and stuff that get caught in there. After the last coat, it comes out pretty smooth, and I have just enough in one pail to do the whole canoe. Then I have to apply paint. And I have to apply 3 coats of primer before the green paint goes on, and that also takes 3 coats, which I roll on and then tip with a foam brush. It comes out, it's a high gloss, it comes out quite shiny. Shows all your mistakes. Once the paint's finished, then the outwales go on, and they get put on with brass screws also. Every hole has to be pre-drilled. Once that's done, you sand down the ends of the outwales and get it ready for the same process of all the other varnish with the shellac and the polyurethane. Once the polyurethane dries, it's ready for the brass stems. They go on with 3/4 inch number 4 screws, also made out of brass, where you drill into the hull, which feels unnatural after you've done all that work to seal it, but you put a marine sealant on every screw to hopefully avoid leaks. And after that, this is the finished product. I think it turned out pretty well myself. Now all I have to do is get it in the water.